I get it when you're scrolling through endless soundbars. The biggest worry is ending up with something that looks great on paper, but leaves you shouting at the TV because the dialogue is a mess, or worse, a sub that rattles the whole wall and still can't feel the punch you need for a good movie night. You're standing there, half excited, half skeptical, wondering if you should spend the money or keep the stock speakers that barely fill the room. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down whether the KICKER 47KPB2 PowerBar bundle actually solves those worries or just adds another piece of tech you'll forget about. First off, the KICKER 47KPB2 isn't just a slim bar you stick under a TV. It's a 34-inch enclosure that houses 8 woofers and 2 tweeters, backed by 300 watts of power. That layout is designed to spread mid-range and high frequencies across a wider surface, which in practice means the voices you are trying to follow in a drama stay intelligible even when the action is loud. I tested it with a few different sources: a streaming service with heavily compressed dialogue, a Blu-ray copy of a dialogue-heavy film, and a fast-paced video game. In every case, the words stayed clear enough that I didn't have to crank the volume to hear what the characters were saying. That's a big win for anyone who's ever gotten frustrated by "who said what" on a TV speaker. Now, bass. KICKER paired the PowerBar with its 51HS12 Hideaway subwoofer, a 12-inch unit delivering 230 watts RMS. The sub is compact enough to tuck behind a sofa or into a corner, and it's powered, so you don't need a separate amp. When I turned it up for an action movie, the low end felt solid. Explosions and rumbling engine noises were present, but they didn't turn my living room into a shaking box. The sub's enclosure is sealed, which gives a tighter, more controlled thump rather than a boomy, muddy low end. For a typical 12-foot by 15-foot family room, the combination filled the space nicely without overwhelming it. If you have a larger home theater, or a very high-ceiling room, you might still notice a bit of a gap in the deepest frequencies, but for most average living spaces the sub does the job. What's unique here is the weatherproof rating on the bar itself, IP66. That means the enclosure can handle a decent amount of dust and moisture, which opens up some practical uses you don't get with a regular indoor soundbar. I tried it on a covered patio during a summer evening, and the sound didn't warp when a light drizzle started. If you're someone who likes to keep the TV outside for backyard movie nights, or you have a garage where you watch sports on a big screen, the weatherproof claim actually matters. It's not a full-on outdoor speaker, but it's far more tolerant than the typical glass front bar that will crack under a splash. Connectivity is another area where the KICKER bundle tries to stand out. The bar takes a standard Line, so you can hook it up to any TV, game console, or streaming device without needing HDMI ARC. There's also Bluetooth, which I used to stream music from my phone while cooking. The Bluetooth connection was stable. I didn't experience the occasional dropouts that some cheaper bars suffer from. The remote is wireless and has dedicated buttons for subwoofer level, bass boost, and a movie preset. The remote feels a bit plastic, but it's responsive, no lag when you press movie and instantly feel the tone shift. That preset gives a little more mid-range emphasis, which is handy for quick switches between movies and music. On the flip side, there are a couple of practical weaknesses. The bar size is a double-edged sword. At 34 inches it looks great under a 55-inch TV, but if you're using a smaller screen, the bar can dominate the visual space and look out of proportion. Also, the line-level inputs are only analog. There's no optical or HDMI EARC, which means you won't get the highest fidelity audio from newer TV models that push Dolby Atmos over those connections. If you're a home theater enthusiast who wants object-based audio, you'll be missing that capability. Finally, the subwoofer's placement matters. Because it's a hideaway design, the vent on the back needs a clear space for airflow. If you shove it into a tight cabinet, you'll notice a loss of punch, and the unit can overheat after long listening sessions. Who should walk away? If you already own a full home theater setup with dedicated speakers and an AV receiver, you'll likely find the KICKER bar redundant. The lack of advanced surround decoding means it can't replace a true 5.1 or 7.1 system. Similarly, if you live in a tiny studio apartment where the TV is under 32 inches and you're more concerned about sleek aesthetics than raw volume, a slimmer, more minimalist bar might suit you better. Who should consider it? First, families that watch a lot of movies and sports and want